On the field, off the field, sports talk, entertainment, and more. This is Sauce on the Side.
Well, hello there, Dippers, and welcome back to episode 49 of the Sauce on the Side podcast. I'm your host, Drake, as always, and I'm joined by the producer, the man himself, Leighton Pip Shaventone.
When I was 7 years old, my favorite player was Shaquille O'Neal, and before that I was a Lakers fan. And here I am today, at age 25, a Lakers fan once again. Thank you, LAbron. Circle of life.
What a beautiful story that is. And sitting in with us today, the hot take detective, he is back. Brandon B. Riker.
I'm just glad to see that Thon's off-season workouts with Jackie Chan have been working out for him.
Ooh, yeah, he did look good. Actually, after that had happened, they showed the bench clip, and I'm pretty sure Deli was on the bench. And he would have been the most likely candidate to get into that fight, and he was nowhere to be found.
Oh, yeah, no, he would have dropped somebody, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, rolled into a knee, I'm sure.
He's just scrapping around.
So, guys, we've said it for a couple weeks now. We are officially on Spotify. So, we're going to be phasing SoundCloud out. You can find us on SoundCloud. You can find us on Spotify. That sounds so weird to say. And make sure you guys download, rate, subscribe each and every episode, and we will thank you for that. Also, be sure to check out thefsgn.com. That is thefsgn.com. All of our podcasts, you can also find them there. They have really cool options there, multiple different podcasts. So be sure to check those guys out as well. Also, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram at The Saucy Pod. And guys, we have a loaded show for you today. The NBA hot stove of free agency has officially been set on fire. The king is in LA. We're going to give out our MLB All-Star teams. And we have a very, very special interview for you. Former SIU pitching standout recently just got picked up by the Pittsburgh Pirates organization and will be pitching for the Bristol Pirates this season, Alan Montgomery. So definitely be sure to listen for that. Guys, I hinted at it before we got that started, but the NBA free agency has arrived. And guys, as of yesterday, LeBron James is now a Laker. He signed for 4 years, $154 million. Guys, what do we think about this move by King James?
Looking at what he's done in the past, it's a weird move, because I feel like he didn't do it for pure basketball reasons. He did it for also help with business and his life after basketball. So it is for there. It's also just really weird to me to think that LeBron's going to be a Laker next season.
Yeah, I agree with you. This definitely wasn't about basketball, because if it was about basketball, he would have went to Philly, who has a team that could win now and had the money to sign him. Like you said, this is just kind of a strange way he's gone about this.
Yeah, I agree with you. Whenever it first came out that, LeBron could possibly be a Laker, I kind of just put it on the back burner because I really didn't believe it. I figured he'd stay in the East, just that way he could guarantee himself to be in the NBA Finals, because basically whatever team LeBron is on in the East ultimately ends up in the NBA Finals. Him going to the Lakers now basically just tells me that he's going to go basically sit a year, because, that team definitely is not in win-now mode. They're built up by a bunch of young talent, which I don't know how much pull LeBron's going to have, because I feel like him and Magic are very similar personalities in the fact that they think that they're both the smartest guy in the room at all times. So I think that they could end up butting heads. I feel like the Lakers had to have basically told LeBron whenever he came in, we're going to treat you just like Cleveland did. You will be the man here. We're going to do everything we could to make you happy here. So if you sign, you're basically going to be acting as the general manager. Do you guys think that there's any way that went down that way, or?
I just think that he absolutely knew that they were going to get Kawhi Leonard. Otherwise, I just don't even see what the point of it actually was, unless he gets another star. But to your point, I think they have the flexibility with their small contracts or short contracts to do what you're saying and get LeBron's team there. It does allow him to have the most say of the team. I can see what you're saying there.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like go what Brandon said, I can see that happening, I guess, because some of the signings do seem like I want to pick KCP being one guy who plays defense and shoots threes. But then you have Lance Stevenson. I feel like LeBron did not want to go and get Lance Stevenson.
See, I don't know, but if you're the front office and you're sitting there and a guy like Lance Stevenson's there and you know what kind of player LeBron is, why would you go out and target a guy like Lance? Lance doesn't even shoot a three a game, I don't think, and if he does, he's a terrible 3-point shooter. I believe he's like 29% from three for his career. He's not good at it, and then they go out and get Rondo, which Rondo, in my opinion, sounds more like a LeBron type of signing than a Lakers type signing, if that makes any sense, because I know LeBron really respects Rondo. I mean, he played against him whenever he was in against the Celtics, and I don't know what kind of direction they're heading.
They're heading in the direction they're going to get Kawhi Leonard and dominate the West.
And probably another star player too, because they have two max deals.
Like I said, they have only like 1-year deals and like player options. Besides that Luol Deng contract, they're sitting very pretty.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And actually, whenever I think it was probably this weekend sometime, I had actually said if they could go out and get Rajon Rondo, that would give them the flexibility to be, okay, well, we'll go ahead and we'll turn Lonzo Ball into either a Boogie Cousins off of a sign and trade or turn Lonzo Ball into Kawhi Leonard. And I think that was a good move as long as they're not trying to play guys like Lonzo Ball and Rajon Rondo at the same time with LeBron, because those kind of opportunities just don't even sound correct. Like, you'll have three guys out wide that can't shoot, and then LeBron dribbling the air out of the ball. So we know the next big signing was Kevin Durant. We kind of all expected it. Got a 1-and-1 deal from Golden State, $61.5 million. I don't think there was any surprise here. Guys, this is what you expected as well.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm kind of surprised to see it was only a one deal for 1-year player option, though. But, yeah, this is what we all expected.
Yeah, I think Kevin Durant just keeping his options open. He's kind of taken a pay cut the last couple of years. He's getting at least paid this time. He's doing kind of what LeBron did with that 1-year player option, gives you a chance to go somewhere else. Because, they have some tough decisions coming up with having to pay Klay Thompson. They've already paid a couple other players. So maybe Kevin Durant's saying if he doesn't like the roster, he'll just jump ship.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I feel like he's doing the exact same route that LeBron did. Like, I can't win a championship here. I'm going to jump ship, go play with some guys that I know I can get the deal done with. And then after that, I'm not going to get locked in. I'm not going to get locked into any kind of deal, 1-and-1s. And I see him doing this probably until he does what LeBron's doing right now and goes to kind of right off into the sunset with a separate team.
Want to hear what's going to happen?
What's going to happen?
What is it?
He's going to opt out after this season. Melo's going to be out of OKC. OKC have $27 million more to fuck with. And Katie's going back to OKC and be him investing Paul George.
I actually like that.
They're off what LeBron did, though. That's what LeBron did.
I'm pretty sure even with Carmelo Anthony's contract, they'd still be like right at the salary cap.
Warriors
okay.
won back-to-back. They're going to lose next season. And Katie jumping ship like LeBron did in Miami.
You kind of hinted at it there. Paul George, OKC, he's there for 4 more years, $137 million. Since he had signed, they have also signed Nerlens Noel and have basically put themselves in salary cap hell. I mean, they are 160 plus into the luxury tax, and their team salary is 160 million. So, guys, what do you think first about Paul George returning to Oklahoma City?
This one really shocked me because I didn't think he had a very good time at all in OKC last season. But then after they got eliminated from the playoffs, you kind of heard him start saying that he wanted to be there more and stuff like that. And if it would be true, and they kind of go what we were saying last week, Brandon didn't want Manny Machado because he thought they had him locked up. But last season, the Lakers said they want Paul George in the trade. They thought they had him locked up this summer, and they lost out on him. Got nothing back.
Well, I want to clarify it because the NBA is unlike the MLB in that there's special rules that you can have to retain players. Paul George, I don't know if you've read his full thing, but he has a 4-year, 137 base. He also has the option to extend it to a 7-year that would end up paying him like $198 million over those 7 years. No other team could give him that. And I honestly think what his decision was obviously gives you the biggest financial security. And if OKC is bad for several years down the road and they're having to pay this luxury tax, I could definitely see them trying to ship these guys off, like him and Steven Adams, and try to, basically all rebuild. So I think Paul George just saw which one was the best option for him in the future, and he just took it. And if OKC's good, he's on the team. And if not, he'll be traded.
So you don't think him liking Russ that had anything to do with him resigning?
I really don't. I don't think he likes Russ. I don't see how you would like playing with Russell Westbrook. I don't see how you would. He played pretty poorly in the playoffs with Russell Westbrook on his side. So
didn't he tear it up a couple games?
I think there was one
torched the fucking earth for a little bit.
I'm pretty sure
he had one good game.
Yeah.
And then there was another game he shot 3 for 17, and then guess whose fault it was? It was Russell Westbrook's fault that they lost the game, even though Paul George went out there and shot 3 for 17, which, the other flip of the coin, Paul George could have went to, where did everybody think he was going to go? The Lakers. He goes to LA, and LeBron's team loses in the playoffs. Guess whose fault it is? It's Paul George's fault. I think that he likes being there because he's under the radar. It is Russell Westbrook's team. It's financial security. He's getting paid boatloads of cash, and he doesn't even have to sit there and be the guy who takes the full responsibility at the end of the day. Look how it was in Indiana whenever they were putting pieces, patching holes, trying to make it work with him. Whenever they would get ousted in the playoffs by LeBron, everybody came back and said, oh, Paul George, this was Paul George's fault. This year, it was the exact opposite. Paul George played like shit. Still wasn't his fault. Russell Westbrook's fault. He goes to L.A. It's Paul George's fault, no matter how they do.
But I think all of us are pretty shocked that this went down.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. I am, too. I'm 100% shocked. And I don't think that that's the best career move for Paul George. Financially smart, but as far as a basketball career, I don't think it's great. Another guy that a lot of people actually saw possibly going to the Lakers if LeBron went there was Chris Paul. Signs to go to Houston for 4 years, $160 million. He's hoping basically that he doesn't get hurt in the playoffs and they can beat the Warriors. Guys, were you surprised at all that he went back to Houston?
I'm not surprised. I am a little bit surprised at the money. I mean, in 2 years, Chris Paul and James Harden will each be making $40 million in a year. That's $80 million on 2 players.
$100 million salary cap.
I mean, yeah, you just get some. Oh, and you got the mid-level exceptions. We always forget about that. So, really, this is the team you're going to see for the next 4 years. They, in my mind, this Chris Paul thing, it's going to really. This is going to be later in the segment, but they have to go get Capella now using the bird rights. They absolutely have to, because other than that, they're just can sign mid-level exceptions and rookies for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, with each other with the money, broke my mind. This doesn't have any options in it, does it? No team options or anything?
No, it's just straight.
Yeah, this is the worst signing so far, in my opinion. Because Chris Paul's old, he's hurt all the time. Well, he's hurt all the time now. And you're paying $40 million for 4 years. This is the worst decision I think have been made so far.
I don't. I disagree with that. This team is one freak non-contact injury away from dethroning the Golden State Warriors this last year. And basically, you'll pay whatever you have to win a championship, basically in any sport, and that's been proven time and time again. This $40 million or this $160 million, they get one championship out of that. They're going to come back at the end of the day and say this was completely worth it. And, a guy like Chris Paul, he is what the Rockets needed. They needed another guy that can handle the ball, score, play good defense. And Chris Paul is 100% that. He is the guy that James Harden has to have on his team. And, if they don't go out and get Capella, this is all for waste.
Yes.
So if you're going to go ahead and pay a guy $160 million to be on your team, you better go ahead and sack up whatever you have to give Capella, because without Capella, it doesn't work.
Well, it doesn't, and they can't sign anybody near Capella because they just have his bird rights. That's the only way they can get anything, comparable. So if they don't get that, this is just garbage, and they're screwed for 4 years.
Oh, yeah, if they don't get Capella, this is by far the worst signing. But if they get Capella, this is well worth the money. They're probably going to be back in the Western Conference Finals. Whether or not they can hang on this time, be a different story. But if you get one title out of these 4 years, it's well worth it. Actually, we have a guy switching teams now. DeAndre Jordan, about 3 years too late, is now joining the Dallas Mavericks on a 1-year, $24 million deal. He is now an employee of the Mark Cuban. Guys, what do you think about this for DeAndre Jordan, and what else do you think about it for the Mavericks side of the coin?
Well, I'm going to just make the joke that's been said time and time again. We just need to wait till he actually signs on the dotted line to get too ahead of ourselves. But I like the move for Dallas. I think this makes them a better squad. I mean, obviously not competing for a championship, but you bring in two good players with DeAndre Jordan and you get Doncic. You already had Harrison Barnes and Dennis Smith playing okay. Could be flirting with a playoff seed. I don't know. I just think this is good on the 1 year to just see what all these players can do together.
You forgot they still have Dirk, Brandon.
They do still have Dirk coming on even cheaper than $5 million.
That is awesome.
That is really awesome. But yeah, no, I get signing too, which all of you said. And the 1 year deal is nice because everyone knows they have, a boatload of great free agents next season. Mm-hmm. So if things don't work out this way, they can take a whole new route next season. I think it's a really smart move for Mark Cuban and the Mavericks.
Yeah, I think this works out for both teams. DeAndre Jordan, I think he wanted to be a Maverick for probably the last 3 years. Finally gets the opportunity to do so. 1 year deal, so he's not locked in. 1 year deal, so the Mavericks aren't necessarily locked in. Next year's free agency pile is a lot bigger. $24 million is a very, very good amount of money for a guy like DeAndre Jordan to make in today's NBA. He can't make anything outside of the lane. So if you're making $24 million, he's got to be happy. I think both sides, this is a good deal. Mm-hmm. Do you guys think that this makes the Mavericks a potential playoff team, or where do you see them now?
I mean, I say fringe. I still think they're on the outside looking in. But at least they're going to bring some excitement to a city that never wants to be rebuilding. Yeah,
with how West was last year, like 2 games separating the 3 seed and 8 seed, I'm not going to say they're not a playoff team, but they're fringe.
Yeah, I think this makeup, I like it a little better than what the Clippers had last year. And, now that DeAndre Jordan's there, I think this team will kick the tires on 40 wins. I don't know if they'll necessarily, get up to the playoff team, but I think they'll flirt with 40 wins. And it'll be a fun team to watch, actually. Yes. I think Dennis Smith and DeAndre Jordan will be 2 really fun players to watch playing together. So Aaron Gordon, a lot of people were talking about how other teams were going to try to sneak in and steal him. Basically, everybody's been able to sneak in and steal Magic's players for time on end. And he actually re-signs with Orlando for 4 years, $82 million. Pretty team-friendly contract there, in my opinion. Guys, what do you think about this signing here?
Well, I'm actually kind of disappointed, not surprised. For Aaron Gordon, I would like for him to go to a contender and see if what he can do on an actually good team. The Magic got no better this year, and they're not going to be any better. They also have a big logjam at the front court. I've talked about it before with Vucevic, Biyombo, Isaacs, Gordon, and now Mo Bamba. One good thing is they have a lot of expiring contracts, and like you said, it's a team-friendly deal. So for the Magic, I think this is great. For Aaron Gordon, I'm not so sure.
Yeah, like you were saying, it would have been nice to see Aaron Gordon go to a contending team, but I guess he just likes being Orlando, and maybe he likes the core they have right now, and he thinks that if Jonathan Isaac can be what people thought he was going to be out of college, and Mo Bamba can reach half of his ceiling, then the Magic could be one of the more exciting teams, probably one of the more fun teams to play on even.
Yeah, I really don't see that ever happening, because I feel like if Mo Bamba and Jonathan Isaacs both reach their ceiling, one of the two are going to leave Orlando. That's the way it's always been for Orlando. And I don't see that changing anytime soon. It's like, well, maybe they like Florida, maybe like the warm weather. Well, they'll go to Miami and be at an organization that's better ran. But, I'm kind of on the fence with Aaron Gordon because I feel like even if he was on a good team, I don't know if he's going to be the difference between you winning a title and losing a title. Like, I haven't quite figured out how good Aaron Gordon actually is.
Well, that's why I was kind of pumped to see it, because he can dribble, drive, and he has started to shoot a little bit better from behind the arc. So I really think he could be maybe a third fiddle on a championship-winning team. And we won't know for at least 4 more years. So
yeah,
at least.
That's no kidding. Do you guys realize how young Aaron Gordon is?
Yeah, like stupid young.
Yeah.
He's 22 years old.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that today because I thought he was at least like 24, 23 at the youngest. But, yeah, 22. So, I mean, he'll be 26 whenever this expires. So, he'll still be young. But, guys, who is your favorite signing so far this free agency?
Mine was most likely DeAndre.
DeAndre Jordan?
Yeah, I like that one a lot for both of them.
I kind of like the sneaky pickups. Like the splashes are obvious. LeBron James, that's great for LA. DeAndre Jordan, that's good for the Mavericks. But I like the sneaky pickups like Doug McDermott and Tyreek Evans going to Indiana. I think those were two little pieces that could add to a team that took a LeBron-led team that went to the finals to the brink of elimination. I'm excited to see what the Pacers can all put together next year with upgrading a couple spots.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% there. I was actually going to hit on that. Tyreek Evans, he kind of, in a way, reminds me of how Victor Oladipo is. A 25-5 guy, just like high motor. He doesn't shoot quite as well as what Oladipo's come to do. But, with Nate McMillan, and from what I've seen so far, Nate McMillan's good at developing guards. He developed Victor Oladipo well beyond what anybody thought was possible. So I'm excited about that Tyreek Evans signing. Another one that I'm very interested to see is Nerlens Noel in OKC. I want to see how that's going to work out. I don't know what they're planning on doing with that. Maybe is it like whenever Steven Adams comes out, or are they looking to go maybe like Paul George at the 2 with Melo at the 3? I don't know.
I think that would be disastrous if they did that.
Yeah,
I do too.
They have guards.
Go well.
I mean, Paul George or Russell Westbrook would have no room to run. I think he's strictly for a backup.
I would think so, but that doesn't make any sense to me if you're Nerlens Noel. I don't know if he's just wanting to go there and maybe try to win a championship, because if you're I feel like OKC had to have promised him something more than just like a backup role to Steven freaking Adams. Because, Nerlens Noel's still a young guy, and he probably thinks that he is better than playing right behind Steven Adams.
Well, he found himself in a really bad situation in Dallas, so maybe he's just trying to get out of there as fast as he can. I don't really know, but it wouldn't really make sense for him to be implemented in the starting lineup.
No, I don't. Well, I don't think he'll be starting, but I don't know if they're going to try to play Steven Adams, because in the past they did that with Enes Kanter and Steven Adams, and I don't know if that's what they're trying to get back to. I hope not, but I think that's one of the ones that I'm going to be watching for this season.
So you're intrigued by Noel going to OKC?
Yes, I am.
You don't want him to start?
No, I don't.
Oh, that's interesting. You got any more interesting thoughts for us this week?
Yes, I do. And by surprise, guys, these are going to be LeBron heavy. So hold on, millennials. Your GOAT is in trouble.
It was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine.
LeBron James, the millennial GOAT, taking his talents to Hollywood. Just after his signing, other notable free agents followed. Most notably, Lance Stevenson, JaVale McGee, and Brian Windhorst. Doc Rivers, worst week of his life. Jerry West had to break it to him that his son isn't even as good as Marcin Gortat. LeBron James, Lance Stevenson, not the next Shaq and Kobe, more like Dwight and Kobe. If you think soccer is a sport, remember, Japan advanced because they got a fair play point. Do you know how you get those? Sportsmanship. Do you know who gives participation trophies for sportsmanship? Losers. Do you know who doesn't play sports? Losers. Sammy Sosa, you didn't do steroids? I believe you. Paul George, you said you're bringing it back home? I don't believe you. I've never seen $27 million look bad until I saw Hoodie Mello. Russell Westbrook apparently threw a party for the Thunder to celebrate the return of PG-13. Sources close to me tell me that everybody there was responsible for their own shots. There's a new book out this weekend, and it's titled Welcome to the Real World, LBJ Meets the West. And it was written by Stephen Douglas Kerr. And those have been my thoughts.
I love it whenever millennial says, "All right, millennials."
Yeah, I know.
Those are
It's a
favorite.
mindset, baby. It's a mindset.
I'm not millennial. They're my ages.
Yeah. Ageism. That's not right. I am whatever I think I am. So we'll get back to a little bit of NBA free agency. We'll go to some guys that are unsigned. Probably the biggest name available right now is Boogie Cousins. He's an unrestricted free agent, 4-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA, played more than 65 games only 4 times in his 8 NBA seasons. Guys, what do you think he's worth at this point, and where do you think he should go?
So I actually have a fun one. Well, I think the most realistic thing is that the Pelicans will re-sign him. I don't think this is the way to go because I don't think that puts them in championship contention. I don't like having 2 bigs like AD and DeMarcus playing on the same team and to put them in the luxury tax. But what I do like is a sign-and-trade, and that sign-and-trade would be with the Washington Wizards. You team him back up with DeMarcus Cousins. You sign DeMarcus Cousins. You ship over. You traded Otto Porter. Flip those contracts, and the money would work, and maybe even throw in a draft pick. That would leave you with Beal, Wall, and Cousins as your main players.
That's not
That'd
bad.
be interesting.
Yeah, that'd be pretty sweet.
Especially now that they have Austin Rivers. They might be able to get Doc over there to coach him. He could sit John Wall's ass on the pine and let Austin go to work.
As long as Austin gets 37 minutes, it's fine.
Yeah. Log him out there. Boogie, hop your ass on the bench.
I actually want to see him go to the Lakers. Okay, my 2 favorite players of all time are Boogie Cousins and LeBron James. It had to be through a sign and trade, and with the Pelicans just losing Rondo to the Lakers, and they're talking about this before the show, they could trade Lonzo Ball to the Pelicans and say screw it, and have Lonzo Ball try to play with AD.
Yeah, I that's exactly what I think that is going to happen. I think that they're going to try to do a sign and trade, and hell, they might even throw like the Luol Deng contract in there. That would be an easy way to get the Luol Deng contract off the books. Is if Boogie comes to him and says, "Hey guys, I want to be in LA," kind of force their hand, but tell them, "I'll get you Lonzo Ball back and at the back end of this thing." And I think that would be a good move for both parties. You get the Deng contracts off the book. You get Rajon Rondo in there, who's basically a better Lonzo Ball. I know he's a little older. They both shoot about the same, but one guy knows not to shoot and the other doesn't. And I think that would be a real interesting team dynamic there because you still have a bunch of young talent. You could still go out and get Kawhi Leonard. And overall, I think that Lonzo Ball and AD would be a really fun combination to watch, especially with like Mirotic and Drew Holiday. And then I also think that Boogie Cousins would be interesting to watch with LeBron James. He'll be like standing in the corner the whole game, just shooting threes. But I think it would actually be a kind of a fun team to watch, especially whenever LeBron gets pissed at Boogie. Because I'm like Kevin Love, like Boogie's not going to back down to that. So I think that would be so fun to watch all season.
That dynamic would be sweet to see.
Dude, could you imagine the team huddle whenever like Boogie knocks the clipboard out of LeBron's hands?
I think Boogie Cousins would lead the history of the NBA in technicals, but technicals like aimed at his teammate.
If we don't have
Oh, yeah,
teammates.
dude.
Oh
Yeah,
my
like
gosh.
LeBron. LeBron is sitting there in the huddle listening to Luke Walton talk, and he's like, "Hey, dude, remember who went first overall in your draft class?" And then takes the clipboard from him, pushes him out of the seat, and draws up a play. Another free agent here. We kind of hinted at it earlier that the Rockets basically, at this point, must re-sign Clint Capella. Reported that he's actually supposed to be meeting with the Lakers tonight. He's a huge piece to the Rockets' success. Guys, do you see that anywhere else other than Houston for Clint Capella at this point?
No, I think it's going to be a Rocket because we talked about earlier, and I think that the Rockets going to match not any offer, but basically any offer that a team will make for Capella. I can see the Rockets matching it.
Oh, 100%. I just completely agree with you. And if some team doesn't make a huge offer, I could see them. I think it'd be great if they signed him to a 2-year deal. After 2 years, Ryan Anderson and the Gordon contract come off the books, and then maybe you could even sign him to a bigger deal. So that could kind of work out for both parties.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I don't see like the Lakers tossing a ton of money like to outbid the Rockets at this point, especially for like a long-term deal. So I think that he'll actually go to the Rockets for a few-year deal, and I really hope that's what happens because that team is really fun to watch with him. So big news as of like 30 minutes before we started this. Julius Randle, they removed the, I guess, restricted marker off of Julius Randle, so now he is an unrestricted free agent, former 7th overall pick, averaged 16 and 8 last year. Guys, where do you think he should go, and where do you think he will go?
So, I'll be honest, I don't know where I think he should go. I wrote this before that all happened, and I said if nobody, puts a good price on him, I saw Julius Randle coming back on a 1-year deal with the Lakers for pretty cheap and add some depth, but I think the market's kind of drying up for big contracts for big men right now.
Yeah, I agree with him. Same thing. Because it's happened so recently, I don't have a great spot for him to go. I want to try and think of one, and maybe the Heat.
Yeah,
I mean, nice.
I feel like Julius Randle is like a player that was like 2 years late to cash in on his ability, like 10 years too late. He just doesn't fit well in today's NBA. I actually kind of have a funny team that I think he'll go to, and I legitimately think that at the end of the day, whenever all free agency dust is settled, Julius Randle will be on this team, and I think it's going to be the Nets. I mean, the Nets have shown that since they cannot build through the draft, since they shipped basically every pick for the next 100 years out, that they will take on any young player that they basically see that is not fully developed yet. Jahlil Okafor, D'Angelo Russell, and now Julius Randle. I think that would be the funniest team ever.
What I would love is that they would sign Ed Davis and Julius Randle in the same offseason.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Dude, if they do that, the Nets might be my newest favorite team. I love the Nets, dude. I feel like they're the only team in the NBA that really, really sucks that is always in the win now mode. Like, they look at every offseason like, all right, this is our year, boys. Let's go out there and let's get Julius Randle. Let's go ahead and get Jahlil Okafor. His team don't want him. I see that he was taken in the top 10 at one point. We'll sign him. Mm-hmm. So we kind of hit on some of the guys who haven't signed, more of the big names. But guys like Marcus Smart, Jabari Parker, Yusuf Nurkic, Zach LaVine, Greg Monroe, Rodney Hood, they're all available at this point. Avery Bradley is also another name that I didn't mention. Some of these guys are restricted, some are unrestricted. But where do you see any of these restricted guys actually switching teams, and where do you see some of these unrestricted guys going?
For restricted guys, one I can see them letting go of the team would be Jabari Parker or Rodney Hood. Because Parker hasn't played a ton for the Bucks, and Hood, you don't know the Cavaliers plan at this point. But I'll talk about a guy who you didn't say again, and that'd be Isaiah Thomas. I'm not sure what he's with at this point, but I see a lot of stuff talking about him and the Magic, and okay, that'd be whatever.
Oh hell yeah,
that'd be okay. But
it's the veteran leadership that ball club's missing. Like.
I think it'd be cool. I don't know this team's cap situation super well, or actually at all. But if he would somehow go to the Detroit Pistons,
I know they have a huge Bismack Biyombo contract on the books.
Yes, they do.
But if I think a team he should go to, and honestly, the Detroit Pistons, because he can come off the bench and be the sixth man.
Mm-hmm.
We just that Dwayne Casey, who we know can make good things happen with small guards, and I think IT should look at going to the Pistons on a deal. And another thing about him, what is he even worth at this point? Like, I don't
know. He's sixth man. He's a sixth man guy. So like the mid-level exception money is what I would pay him, less than $10 million a year.
Yeah, dude. You know how big of a kick in the nads that'd be for like those old school Pistons fans that grew up watching the Bad Boys. They're like, oh, we got another Isaiah Thomas, and then they show up at the game and he can't guard a lick. They're like, who's the 5'8" dude that's like just getting balled on every trip down the court?
Hawking up threes.
I do kind of like that Pistons. I didn't even think about that, but I don't know if he could swallow his pride to, ride behind Reggie Jackson for a season like that.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll swallow his pride. I think the Magic, right, is actually a pretty good, a pretty interesting situation there. I've always been on that side of the team that says, like Isaiah Thomas was not that good. Like he could score a little bit, and Fletcher hits on the Brad Stevens system. Absolutely hates when people say that, but I'm going to say it here. The Brad Stevens system for point guards. And he's all right. He's a sixth man. He'll come off the bench. He'll score you some points, but he's not going to be the starting point guard on a good team. But I kind of like that Magic move. I think that would be kind of fun, and I think he'd look funny in that uniform.
So I actually am going to pick Jabari Parker. Layton hinted at it. I think he's good. What would be great if he went back to his hometown Bulls. He can play the 3 and the 4, and he's shown in the past that he can put up 20 points per game. Not really for sure why the Bucks didn't like him last year. I mean, I know he's coming off an injury, but he didn't get a lot of playing time when he was healthy. I could see the Bulls making a big push, getting a good offer, and the Bucks just decide not to match it. And then the Bulls will go ahead and sign Zach LaVine and then try to build that way.
Yeah, I think that could make it a pretty interesting team. I like Jabari Parker a lot.
I do too.
I know whenever he got chances to play with Thon Maker in the postseason, that was a pretty mean combination. Yeah. We got sold a little short because we didn't get to see Thon Maker kick anybody's ass.
Oh yeah,
it was a good team to watch. My guy actually, I'm going to go with Marcus Smart, and I would like to see him go to the Pelicans. I haven't seen any reports on this whatsoever. But I think that, if they are able to retain Boogie and they're not able to go out and get Lonzo, or they don't get a sign and trade done there, I think that if you just take Drew Holiday, Marcus Smart, they could basically just take turns bringing the ball up every time. And, if you're a team that's built, with your scoring basically on the inside, you don't have to have – he doesn't have to be able to shoot a lot because basically everybody else on his team is able to shoot. But I think that would be a really fun team to watch. And that defense on the perimeter would be ridiculous. Drew Holiday, he was an all-defense team this year. And then you have Marcus Smart, who can basically, outside of center, can guard anybody on the court. I think that would be a really fun team to watch if we could get Marcus Smart down to the Pelicans. But I haven't seen anything on it. So one guy's been tossed around a lot for the Lakers. Kawhi Leonard reports that he wants to go not only to LA, but if any team signs or trades for him, that he will only re-sign with LA next season. Guys, I'm just going to start off with the first question. Should any team other than the Lakers go sign him or trade for him?
Not at this point.
Right.
At the trade deadline, if you're a good team, want to take a half-year rental on Kawhi Leonard, then say absolutely go for it and win a title. But not until trade deadline.
Well, you took the words right out of my mouth, because right now they're asking for 2 young, good players. So, the 76ers have to give up Dario Saric and Robert Covington and 3 first-round picks. He's not worth that. But like Layton said, if you're trying to make a push at playoffs, and by that time, the trade deadline, the price should be down awfully much because they think they're going to just lose him for nothing. I think that's what another team other than the Lakers could make a push for him.
Yeah, I agree with you. And it's so hard to say because, you look at a situation like Paul George, I have a feeling that some team is going to fall in love with the Paul George, basically fairy tale. A guy falls in love with this team that he didn't want to be on in the first place, kind of got thrown to the wolves there, and he was expected to sign with the Lakers the next year, and then boom, all of a sudden sticks around for 4 more years. I don't think any team should do it at this point. I'm sitting with you guys here. I would wait and see. But I don't know if he's actually going to suit up and go out there and play for the Spurs, because there's no doubt in my mind that he wasn't actually hurt this season towards the end of the season, but he still didn't play for him. So yeah. I don't know if you're going to go out there at the trade deadline and actually make a move for a dude that you haven't seen in 2 years. But so we kind of left the Lakers out there. We'll put them in now. Do you guys think that the Lakers should give up anything, if anything, for him?
So what I'm kind of rolling on, not at the current price again, because you'd have to be giving up Kuzma, Ingram, and 3 first-round picks, which just is ludicrous. When he's probably going to sign with you in the offseason. If they wanted to get maybe 1 draft pick and maybe 1 player at his position that won't get as much time, like an Ingram, like that solely, I could see them making the move because then they're in the win now mode. So, in that sense, I would do it.
I don't think it's a trade for him. No, I think it's sit out on him. And at a trade deadline, if you can give it cheap enough, because I believe getting him in the locker room is important. Ben don't believe that for some reason, but I think getting him there matters. So at a deadline, I would explore it again.
The Lakers?
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to kind of wait and sit on your hands if you're the Lakers. It's all depending on what the Spurs want, because I think the Spurs are crazy if they think that they're going to get 3 first-round picks and then plus
two quality young
two
players.
Quality players. But if you're the Lakers, what do your first-round picks matter? You're going to be picking like 30th anyways
right.
if you have LeBron on your team, and if you go out and get Kawhi, then those picks really aren't going to be worth a whole lot either.
Well, that's why I was saying the Ingram and then 1 or 2 draft picks that way. That's solely it. And then, like you said, they should be picking about 30th. So
right. I think it'll be kind of interesting to watch because I feel like Kawhi will be on the Lakers before the season starts. I just don't see LeBron being on a team that is kind of shitty. Like the Lakers team, they're not very good. Like it's LeBron James. It's basically what LeBron had last year, just minus Kevin Love.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, one other thing I could see working out. Obviously, Lakers, we've talked about it before, has a terrible Luol Deng contract. If they were somehow able to eat that contract,
now don't get me. Deng is totally a LeBron guy. Like he's just going to turn back the clock and like automatically.
Well, not for $17 million. No. So trade Luol Deng, and then you know what? Maybe the Lakers would be willing to give up 3 first-round picks because, like you said, they're not going to be worth as much. You get that Luol Deng contract off, and then you're even having more money to sign more players in the offseason, which we know next offseason you're going to have Kawhi Leonard, Jimmy Butler, Klay Thompson. You can make another super team.
Yeah.
Dude, every year this is going to be the NBA forever. Oh, wait till next year's free agency. Doesn't it seem like the last 6 years it's always been like next year's bigger until we get like everybody on 1-year deals.
You know what? I mean, it has seemed that way, and at some point in time, there could be a scenario where everybody kind of runs out at once.
No, this is the biggest one. This is the biggest free agency market we've probably ever seen in the NBA. You have LeBron James on it. You have LeBron James and Kevin Durant.
I agree with you.
No, next year's not going to be as big, but it is still going to be good. You could definitely get 2 top 20 players next year easily.
Yeah, that's true.
I think if the Spurs want what they're asking, or anywhere close to what they're asking, they're going to have to take on a contract like Luol Deng.
Yeah. And if you're the Spurs, in the seasons coming up, do you guys just basically ship him to the highest offer? Or do you try to hold on to him and hope that he comes back?
You see, here's my thing with that. Have you guys seen the report saying that he'll sit out if he's not traded?
I have not seen it, but
I have.
I'm not surprised.
Okay, let's pull that. If it's a trade deadline and Kawhi's played 4 games, or how many games it's been, a season and a half, I think they have to trade him sooner then, because I'm not going to want a Kawhi that's played 4 games a year and a half. Like, how good is he at that point?
Yeah, the only team that would be buying for him would be the Lakers. And at that point, they're like, well, we're going to get him in half a season. We'll give you a second-round draft pick or something. Like, they have to trade him when he has value, and he has value right now.
If he sits out, I think they have to go and look for a buyer. Then we want to come to them.
Yeah, I agree, dude. If I were the Nets or the Spurs, I would be super petty. I would try to ship his ass to the Nets. I would ship him to the Hornets,
the Kings.
I would be extremely petty. I would put him in the East. I'd put him on a bad team. Basically, let him see what it's like. You're playing for probably the greatest organization, and everybody wants to sit there and say, "Oh, the Lakers organization is so great." Like outside of Shaq and Kobe, what have they really done recently? I mean, for the younger generation now, it's like the Spurs have been the pinnacle of sports organizations whenever you're talking about basketball. So I just don't see why you would complain and want to get shipped to anywhere else. I mean, he's playing for probably the best coach in the NBA. He's been in one of the best organizations. They're able to basically the Spurs are the reason why Kawhi is that good. Like whenever he came out of college, he was not that great. He was an athletic dude that could play defense, and Greg Popovich scratched his back. I would scratch his back all the way to Brooklyn.
One more thing before we move on to Honey Detective. We have a new signing since we started the show. Seth Curry, 2-year deal with the Trailblazers. They move the needle for you at all?
Yeah. They got their 12th guard on their team.
Yep.
There are a lot of them.
Yeah, no, I forgot they drafted 2 guards. And Lord.
Have they done anything? Like one of the dudes I read off is a Trailblazer who actually had success, who's a big man, Yusuf Nurkic.
They'll probably just match the deal.
Yeah, why haven't they got a big?
I think they'll just re-sign Nurkic.
Yeah, they'll probably just match the deal. Everyone gives him a deal.
Probably seeing what else people will give him.
Yeah. Jabari Parker to the Trailblazers. Would that not be awesome?
Sure. He'll play like 5 games.
Yeah, that's true. So, guys, we're going to go ahead and transition here to a segment called Be Reich, the Hot Take Detective. So if you guys don't know anything about Be Reich and myself, we don't agree basically on anything with sports. I think the only reason Brandon watches sports is so he can try to prove me wrong with my takes. And so how this will go is I will shoot Brandon a take. He will think about it for a minute, and he will decide whether or not I am right or wrong with my take. Okay, hot take number 1. By signing LeBron James, the LA Lakers, who now sit with the second best odds in Vegas to win the championship at 7-2, have a better chance this season to not be even in the playoffs than they do to actually win the title.
Well, I'm going to agree with you because before this hot take,
I preface this without getting Boogie or Kawhi.
Yes, yeah, that's very important because if they get Boogie or Kawhi, they have a very good chance of knocking off and getting to the championship. But I almost give them a 0% chance with the roster they have now to win the championship. And I definitely think they're making the playoffs. I agree with you on this. I really didn't think that most people would think that they won a championship with one star player.
No, I agree. That's why whenever I saw those odds, I was very surprised. So you agree with that take then?
I agree with the take.
Good deal. Okay, second take. We'll stay on the Boogie and LeBron thing. Boogie Cousins, by going to the LA Lakers, would be the ultimate LeBron fall guy. We've seen it in times past. So Biggs, by going with LeBron, Chris Bosh went from, this is just one season difference, Chris Bosh went from 24-11 to 19-8. Kevin Love went from 26-12.5 to 16-10. Since 2014, even playing alongside Anthony Davis for a season, Boogie Cousins has averaged 26-12. If he went to the LA Lakers to play alongside LeBron James, Boogie Cousins would not average 20 points and 10 rebounds per game.
See, I'm going to disagree with it. I just think, I know Kevin Love was a great offensive player in Minnesota. Obviously, Chris Bosh put up some good numbers. He really didn't learn to shoot until later. I just think that DeMarcus Cousins has so much skill and so much scoring ability that he's going to get his. Like you said, he's already played with a star, and we know we can still put up numbers. 25 and almost 13 rebounds a game with AD. I think the biggest deal is whoever's the third fiddle in a LeBron James offense is going to struggle because he's going to be standing in the corner and he's going to be shooting. That's what we saw with Chris Bosh, and that's what we saw with Kevin Love. I think if it was just a LeBron and DeMarcus Cousins, he would still get his 20 and 10. And let's not forget, in 2016, Kevin Love did average 19 and 11. He was almost there.
But not 20 and 10.
Not 20 and 10. But I really don't think so. I just think that Marcus Cousins just has way too much offensive, and he's already done it with a star, which makes it look good, which the other two have not done.
Right. Okay, so you disagree with that?
Disagree with that. That was a good point.
Okay. So take number 3. With LeBron now going to the West, 11 of the 15 guys on the All-NBA team from last year are now in the West. If you rank the top 13 players in the NBA, only Giannis Antetokounmpo would be from the East.
I know that our top 13 is vastly different, but I'm going to agree with you. I do think, though, the East has like 3 or 4 people right under 20 in that range, knocking on the door. But I wrote it out. I looked at every other way, and yeah, it's top 13, other minus Giannis, is Western Conference players.
That's crazy.
I mean, because your best next players, realistically, are Kyrie Irving, Victor Oladipo after this last season put up great numbers. You have Joel Embiid, and you have Ben Simmons.
Yeah, I skewed the number on that. I mean, if we went all the way to 20, there'd be like 6 of them on there.
Yeah.
But 1 out of the top 13 players in the NBA today is from the East. And you agree with that?
Yeah.
What was that?
Let me hear you guys' top 13.
I'll run down mine, which I bet we have the same players, but maybe not in the same order.
Right.
So LeBron, KD, Anthony Davis, James Harden, Kawhi, Giannis at 6. I had Paul George, Steph Curry, Russell Westbrook, Damian Lillard. Chris Paul was a fringe one, but I definitely think he's there. And then DeMarcus Cousins. And then you can put a couple people, but I put Karl Anthony Towns there. And that's still, you have Jimmy Butler and Klay Thompson in the mix right there. So.
Yeah, I had Jimmy Butler and Klay in there instead of Boogie and I can't remember who else you said. But yeah,
probably
basically
Cat.
the same.
Probably Carly Towns. But
no, I had Cat on there.
Oh, okay. But but I mean, like Oladipo, Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, they're all right there. They're just
right.
I don't think you can put Joel Embiid above Cousins or Karl Anthony Towns. So
no. So you agree? I got 2 or 3 right today.
You did get 2 or 3 because number 1, I don't know how the public thinks that at all. That's silly. That was silliness.
Breaking news, boys. Boogie Cousins on the Warriors.
No
way.
Yes.
No.
Boogie Cousins on the Warriors.
Oh my
no
God.
way.
100% chance they win.
Oh my
what
goodness.
The, what the actual fuck?
Contract. Is there a
Boogie
number?
Cousins.
What are the actual going on?
That is crazy. Dude, that team will not lose 3 games next season.
I hate the NBA.
Oh my God! Why did? Jesus Christ!
Well, just got a live reaction to hearing that for the first time.
Boogie, I bet that's a 1 year. Boogie goes to the Lakers next year.
What a loser!
Boogie, man,
what a loser!
Second favorite player ever.
He's a $20 million guy, and he's probably taking $10 million to go play on the Warriors. It's
I love that. I love it,
so
dude. The NBA is completely ruined.
So there are 5 Hall of Famers on the starting 5, all in their primes.
I love it. Hey, this team. Hey, that Warriors team or the '98 Bulls? Pick one.
The Warriors team. Oh my God! The Warriors team.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Dude, honest to God,
we gotta move on. I'm just
I really wish I would have mentioned it earlier because I had honestly thought Boogie Cousins is the kind of guy to do that. Boogie Cousins is the kind of dude that would try to ruin that. That's crazy.
I'll be out the contract when I get the update for that. Yes. But
okay, that sounds good. So we'll go ahead and Leighton's going to give us a trivia question. He actually kind of did just give us a trivia question there. He did ask us who Boogie Cousins just signed with. I hope that's a false report.
No, it's not. It's a true report. It's real.
LeBron James has won his last title. You guys know that, right?
Yes, I know. Okay, anyway.
Next offseason.
Shoot us the trivia question.
Okay. So, as you heard earlier on the show, we picked our all-star starting lineups. And we all know that catcher is a very weak position just historically. And this year is definitely no exception to that at all. So I wanted to figure out just how bad, catchers have been at hitting. So since the year 2000, only 6 catchers have had a season with an average of 300 or higher and 30 home runs. Can you name one of the 6?
Since when?
2000.
Buster Posey.
Yes. No. Oh, what?
Mike Piazza?
Mike Piazza did it twice. So
did Yadier ever get 30 homers?
I'm trying to do 5 catchers, not 6. 5 catchers. Piazza did it twice. So yes.
Okay.
Piazza is one.
Yachty's not one.
Yachty's not one.
Jason Veritek.
Jason Veritek also not one.
And Yachty never got 30 homers, I'm sure.
He's not
Wilson
on the list.
Contreras is going to do this by the end of his career. But I don't know who the others would be.
Okay, well, Ben, you give up?
There's one guy that I think is going to be on there, but I'm blanking his name. Go on.
Okay, the people beside Mike Piazza are Charles Johnson in 2000, Javi Lopez in 2003, Mike Napoli 2009, and Victor Martinez in 2014.
Victor Martinez. We should have got that one. But
We
that's
have-
surprising.
I actually have a B to this question, 2 parts.
Yeah.
Of those 6 catches, only 4 of them played 90 or more percent of their games at the catcher position. Can you name one of the 4?
Oh, Mike Piazza for sure.
Mike Piazza was one. So you have
And-
the options are Charles Johnson, Javi Lopez, Mike Napoli, Victor Martinez. 2
I
of
know
them did.
Napoli's not one.
No, and I think Victor
And-
Martinez played some first.
Yes.
I'm
Oh,
going
with
to
Victor
go
Martinez.
Johnson.
Yep, the other 2 are Javi Lopez and Johnson.
Nice. Huh. So that's interesting. So we'll go from some baseball there to a little bit of news in the NFL. Guys, Cam Chancellor retired from the NFL. We had talked about it a couple weeks ago, how out of all the guys that were, on the fringe of actually returning, we thought that Cam Chancellor had the least likeliness to return to the Seahawks. And he said due to a lingering neck injury that he has officially decided to walk away from football. Guys, at this point, we know that the Seahawks have been dwindling down. Do we think that there's any chance that this team makes the playoffs this year?
I really don't. Their division is tough, like we've talked about in the past. They have the Rams and the Niners, and possibly Arizona bouncing back this season if they figure out the quarterback situation. I really think so. They lost they cut Richard Sherman. They're going to lose Cam Chancellor, and we even talked about them losing Earl Thomas. They're just losing players left and right, and I just don't think. I think they're going to be like a 6-win team this year.
I'm
Wow.
sorry I left you guys. Boogie Cousins' contract 1 year is $5.3 million.
That's a mid-level fucking
What?
exception. Oh my god,
That's a joke.
Like, what the? Dude, I hate the NBA. It was fun for one day.
Yeah. Why did LeBron sign such that big deal? I mean, I understand that it sets him for life, but he has $1 billion shoe contract. Like, he should have just shit on the Warriors and taken 5 years, $10 million. Leighton, Seahawks.
Yeah, like
What do you think?
I think you been talking about the dwindling down. Now without Cam Chancellor gone, basically the defense is down to just Earl Thomas from Good Illusion and Boom days. And this is a team that's going to miss the playoffs this season because they've relied on Westbrook to get the job done on the offense without any help really for too long, and now they can't catch up to the rest of the teams in the division.
Yeah, I think that the Seahawks are toast. And it's kind of crazy to think about it because that team was so good for such a blink, and then all of a sudden, boom, it's all gone. And I feel like Cam Chancellor was kind of the last domino to fall. And basically now for the next probably 4 years while this team rebuilds, we're just going to get to watch Russell Wilson run for his life.
Yes.
And that's a bummer, because one of the probably top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL right now is going to be on a pretty shitty team now. Terrible offensive line, not great skill players. Defense is going to be bad, and it'll be a bummer to watch. So I'm still trying to wrap my head around this Boogie Cousins thing because that's so
$5 million.
mind-boggling. $5 million, man.
All right.
It's making a joke out of the league. I said it last year. This whole thing has ruined the NBA, and I mean it's just more and more of it. Had LeBron went to the Rockets, they might have been able to compete with this team, but that didn't happen. God, $5 million.
5.3.
That's
5.3.
5.3. His teammate Solomon Hill from the Pelicans makes twice as much as him now.
Over twice.
So guys, staple of the show. Let's play some darts.
We're playing darts, baby.
So this week, since we got the 4th of July, the birth of the country, happy birthday, America. We love you. We are going to do Eat or Delete 4th of July food edition. So Leighton pitched the idea earlier. Apparently, 4th of July has their own menu items, which I would agree with that. Burgers, hot dogs, etc. If you guys don't know anything about darts, we'll go around the table. Each Saucy Boy will throw a dart. Each number on the dartboard represents a different food item, and we will discuss whether or not we will eat these items or we will delete these items. And if you delete any item off of the 4th of July eat list, you are officially a communist. And on that, Leighton C., producer, your throw.
First throw is 18. 18 is hot apple pie.
Hot apple pie. Ooh.
Oh, man. Hot
This
apple
will
pie.
drive Stifler crazy.
Hot apple pie. Staple of 4th of July, staple of America as a whole. Apple pie is probably my favorite kind of pie. You know, I've never had a bad apple pie before in my life. And they're very consistent. The picture is nice and warm on a nice hot day. Go apple pie.
The only thing better than a warm apple pie is warm apple pie with a nice scoop of ice cream on it. It's just...
We call that
is
a la mode here in the States.
a la mode. That is one of the best desserts ever. God. And like you said, there's no bad apple pie. You can go have apple pie at McDonald's, and you're going to have a good-ass pie.
No, yeah, I agree. I think this is going to be a pretty easy, unanimous vote here. A la mode, pie by itself, clean, sweet, automatic, eat any day of the week. Apple pie is one of my favorite food groups.
Apple pie is good. So we are eating apple pie.
It's not even a question.
Be right. Your throw.
We have a 4. Ribs.
Oh, ribs.
I'll tell you what, though. I do not eat ribs very often. And
You feel like you don't eat them enough.
I don't eat them enough, and 4th of July is one of those times I will eat some ribs because they do taste good, and then you can get ones that are just, fall off the bone meat. Only time I will never eat ribs is on a first date because you just look like a caveman demolishing their meal.
Pro tip.
For some reason, women don't like that. What's that, lady?
Pro tip.
Yeah?
No, you say that.
Don't eat ribs on first date.
Yeah, that was a pro tip.
That is, I'm always about those pro tips on the dates. The 2 for $20, and just know if you go to Chili's, go for the 2 for $20, not the baby back ribs.
It's safe to say your girlfriend will not be with you still if you have it in the first date.
Absolutely not.
See, I think I could buck up and eat a slab of ribs on the first date.
I mean,
Sweat pouring down,
Are you
ribs
gonna
all
have
over my face.
You think you're gonna have a second date?
Depends on if she's the right kind of woman or not.
I guess that's the one you want to marry that goes on the second date after ribs. There's a lot about a woman.
Yeah, I mean, why not? Because if she likes ribs, she probably likes football. So, you think about that.
earlier, Jake, earlier during this thing, you said that you don't eat ribs enough. And today, when I was trying to find 20 items for 4th of July dinner, because it's a hard thing to do, I realized that I had not had ribs in freaking forever. Mm-hmm. So, I went to the store after work, bought a slab of ribs, go throw in the grill, go to this podcast. I'm eating ribs all day.
Nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that was good. That was a good idea. Yeah, ribs are one of those things that I just don't eat enough, and I think I should for a healthy diet.
Well,
so
one more pro tip: ribs with beards, risky business as well.
yes,
But
it is.
it's good enough food to do it, so I'm gonna eat it.
Yeah, 100% eat.
Eat. Jake, your throw. We have a 13 kebabs.
Ooh, a kebab. So, for some people out there that might not know what a kebab is, it's a stick, and you chop up things. Could be tomatoes, could be steak, could be peppers, onions, mushrooms are my favorite item on a kebab, pineapples, all of it. You slide it on there. It's a delicious meal. Delicious. No matter what kind of kebab it is, it's good. I feel like I ate kebabs more often in my younger years. I haven't really eaten kebabs recently. I probably should. But I'm a definite eat on kebabs just because the versatility, man. A kebab can really do anything. It's a 5-tool player. You can have fruit, you can have veggies, you can have fungus, technically because that's what a mushroom is, and meat.
When was the last time you ate a kebab, and when it's a situation where you have, because a kebab's some work. Let's put it honest. Like, you have to make the food. You got to put in correct, sizes, and you got to slide it on that stick. That's a lot of work just to eat it.
The most important thing about a kebab is placement.
It's important.
You do have to do it.
You don't want 4 straight onions or 4 straight peppers. You want some pepper, meat, maybe an onion, maybe another pepper, and just more meat.
A kebab could be very visually appealing, but it's just not one of those foods I go grab. It's not one of those foods I have a lot because it's just a lot of prep work.
Kebab. In fact, I haven't had a kebab since last 4th of July.
Wow. Yeah, I think a kebab is best eaten whenever somebody else makes it.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody else is doing the grunt work.
Yeah.
I mean, you can even, to your point, the edible arrangements, those come in kebabs. And you know that takes a lot of work. And I have eaten an edible arrangement last year. So, I don't know. This is a hard eat for me just because because somebody else has to make it. But if somebody else makes it and it's tastefully done, then I'll eat it.
Yeah, 100%. I'll eat it no matter what.
I'll eat it. So 100%. Man, we have 3 100% eats.
We're not
does that say anything about us?
We love America.
I think we're just American. So, guys, we're going to talk a little bit of baseball, and we're going to discuss the All-Star teams. But before that, to segue us into the baseball segment, we actually have Alan Montgomery, former SIU standout. He's a pitcher from Southern Illinois, born and raised, and he recently got picked up by the Pittsburgh Pirates organization. He'll be throwing for the Bristol Pirates. So, guys, hopefully enjoy the interview.
Okay, Dippers, today we have a very, very special guest for you. Actually, Southern Illinois born and raised, one of the newest members of the Pittsburgh Pirates organization, former SIU Saluki standout, Alan Montgomery. Welcome to the kennel.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so coming out of high school, you have one offer from Southeastern Illinois College. It's a JUCO school in Harrisburg, Illinois. Did you ever dream that you would parlay that into actually becoming part of an MLB franchise?
No, I never really saw that coming. Actually, I'd always dreamed of it and thought I could do it. I'd always worked towards it, but after I got the call, it was kind of surreal. I didn't really believe it was happening.
Right. So you said that the call that day was kind of surreal. So you got picked up by the Pirates as an undrafted free agent. Take us through that day that you got the call and that you found out that you were going to be taking your talents to the next level.
Well, kind of leading up to that, my pitching coach had told me that I had a chance to get picked up, but the draft went by and I wasn't sure that it was going to happen. So that morning I was at church actually, and I was sitting in the pew there, and my phone started ringing, and it was my pitching coach, and I was thinking to myself, I probably shouldn't walk out of church, but he's not calling me for no reason on a Sunday morning. So I went out in the foyer and answered it, and he told me that the Pirates had contacted him and that I had a good shot at getting picked up, and that I was going to be talking to a couple scouts later that day.
That's pretty awesome. So baseball is one of those really, really weird sports. So in basketball, you see these guys get drafted or they get picked up out of college, and you don't see them for a couple months with their team. Baseball, however, you basically get picked up, you get drafted, signed, and then all within the same week, you're almost grabbing everything that you have, moving to a certain spot wherever they want you. Take us through that process, and have you had any time to actually sit down for yourself and realize what all is going on here?
So yeah, I got the call, and I talked to the area scout, Anthony Wycliffe, and he told me that a guy by the name of Drew Rossi was going to be calling me and telling me some more information. And he called me, and he was like, Anthony Wycliffe recommended you. We've seen some video on you and stuff. What airport's closest to you? And I said St. Louis Lambert. And he's like, all right, man. We got you a flight tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. You'll be going to Tampa Bay, Florida. And I was like, all right. So it was a real quick turnaround. I got on the plane, came down here Monday, did blood work Tuesday morning, urine samples, stuff like that. And, yeah, I started practice Wednesday. So, no, I haven't really had time to sit down for myself. It's just been kind of a roller coaster.
Wow, that's actually pretty crazy to think about. Like, they call you and they automatically know that you're gonna come, you know? Like, that's crazy to me. So, take us through a typical day. You said you're down in Florida right now. What's a typical day for you right now?
Well, right now they have me on a rehab program down here in the GCL, the Gulf Coast League. So I'm going through. I took off. I hadn't been throwing, after the draft and everything. So they don't want to throw me straight into the game. So wake up around 6:30 in the morning. Go eat breakfast. Come back 7 o'clock or so. We have a managers meeting. And they kind of go through the day, what's going to happen, go to the clubhouse, get ready, go to practice. And we play every day. Every Sunday is an off day, and you have 1 day a week off from games. So Sunday's completely off, and then 1 day a week you'll have practice but no game. So on a game day, like I said, managers meeting, get ready for practice. You go eat lunch, come back to the clubhouse, get ready for the game, go to the game, come back, and then you're done for the rest of the day. The games usually start around 1 o'clock. But actually, like I said, I'm on a rehab assignment, so they're just kind of getting me ready to throw, and then I'm going to Bristol, Virginia sometime next week.
Oh wow, that's actually pretty crazy. Another trip out to basically just relocate yourself. So. Do they have, like, dorms set up for you guys, or where do they have you guys stay during these stays, like with the Gulf Coast League?
So here in the GCL with the Pirates, actually right now I'm at the big league training facility. This is where all of the big leaguers, AAA, AA, this is where everybody comes in the spring. And it's a fenced-in area, and they have, 5 baseball fields over here. And, they call it Pirate City, and it's like a 3-story hotel. And so basically they have us staying in this hotel, and then right behind that is all the fields and stuff.
That's actually pretty cool. So everything you need is basically just right there. So it's baseball all the time.
Yeah, so right now actually there's a guy by the name here of Nick Birdie. You may have heard of him. He went to Louisville. He threw 102 miles an hour. He's in the 40-man roster. He's on a rehab assignment, and he'll be leaving here in a couple weeks to go to the big leagues. Wow,
that's actually impressive. That was actually my next question. Are you getting to mingle with any of the, AA, AAA guys? Other than that, have there been anybody else that you've ran across?
Nobody notable, but I do know you'll be sitting at breakfast or something, and somebody will walk in, and usually somebody will know him. They'll be like, yeah, he's a AAA guy or he's a AA guy. He's down here on a rehab assignment. So anybody that gets hurt or anything comes down here to Bradenton, Florida, and to get themselves right before they go back to the league that they were in.
Right. So you said that you're going to be going to Bristol, Virginia. Have they taken you through any of the process, what you're going to be doing there?
There I will actually be part of the team and part of, playing and stuff. Here, I'm just kind of practicing and stuff. I go to the games, but, I don't have a chance of playing because I'm not on this roster. I'm actually assigned to the Bristol, Virginia team, which is in the Appalachian League, and they're advanced rookie ball, which is a level up from here in Bradenton.
That's awesome. So 4 to 5 years from now, where do you see this taking it? Have you had a chance to look forward to then, or are you just taking this one day at a time?
Well, for now, I'm just taking it one day at a time, but, anything can happen. Everybody's probably heard of Mike Piazza. He was an undrafted free agent, Hall of Famer. So, yeah, just take it one day at a time. Anything can happen. I mean, I'm kind of older, I guess you could say. I'm 21. They take a lot of high school guys, so just kind of have to see what I got, compete every day, and just try to keep moving up to the ranks.
Right. So, Alan, thanks again for coming into the show and discussing with us. Guys, this is Alan Montgomery. Hopefully 4 or 5 years from now, we'll be seeing him suiting up for the black and gold. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, Alan, thank you very much for coming on. We definitely appreciate that. So, guys, let's go ahead and give out our all-star votes. So we'll start off first. We'll do it basically by position grouping. We'll do outfielders, infielders, and then DH catcher, and then starting pitchers. I like the DH catcher combo. I think that's kind of fun. Unfortunately, we don't get to vote for a DH in the NL, so we'll just slide straight through catcher. So, guys, we'll start off NL first. B-Reich, who are your NL outfielders?
So my NL outfielders, we got a couple oldies on there. We got Nick Markakis and Matt Kemp. Nick Markakis, it's good to mention that he actually has more walks than Ks, which is just insane.
That's not bad in the MLB today.
No, it'll get you somewhere with that 389 on base. Actually, another one, this might be a little controversial, but I'm going to go Albert Romero Jr., 331 batting average, OPS 826, and he's playing Gold Glove level defense. That one's going to be, I think, the one that's a little bit different, but I really think that he's deserved it.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I think that if anybody has anything other than Nick Markakis and Matt Kemp at 1 and 2, you better come with a good argument for me.
Yeah.
Outfield's pretty weak this year in the NL as far as, like big-time power numbers. But I have Markakis. I mean, number one outfielder in average and RBIs. Those are two pretty important things. Matt Kemp, second in average, fourth in home runs, second in RBIs. Basically 2011 Matt Kemp all over again. I went a different route for my third outfielder. I definitely don't have a problem with Almora Jr. because he probably is going to win a Gold Glove for the Cubs this year. But I went Dribble Herrera. There was no clear-cut number 3. He has a 283 average, and he had that ridiculous streak where he was getting on base in every single game that he'd played. 14 home runs, 47 RBIs. And he's leading a pretty surprising team. So in a situation where there's no clear-cut 3, I think a Dribble Herrera is as deserving as anyone.
Well, I don't have an issue with that. My only issue is the reason I didn't pick him was just because he's slid so much maybe over the last month. Now
Right.
is going up, but that was definitely in my top 5 for sure.
Yeah, like you guys said, if it's not Markakis and Kemp, then you know what you're talking about at all. I looked at Herrera, back-to-back with Lorenzo Cain as my third outfielder. He's batting 291, his team in first place, 77 hits, 48 runs, 60 stolen bases, and his OBP is 394. Which is almost 400. So I think off those alone, and with out there being a clear-cut third guy, I think Cain's a pretty solid choice.
Those were my top 5 outfielders right there. So
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to agree with you guys there. You know who it's going to be, though. Everybody wants to see him in the home run derby. Unfortunately, Bryce Harper will get his last show for those Nats fans. So we'll go ahead and go to the NL. We'll stick with the AL, or in the NL. Guys, NL infielders. B-Reich, you take the lead here.
Freddie Freeman at first. He's just having an MVP level season. I want to give a special shout out to Votto with that 433 on base, though.
That's insane.
Javier Baez at second base. He's got 16 home runs, 61 RBIs. He's a highlight reel ready to happen. He has 13 stolen bases and 6 triples. Nolan Arenado. Yeah, 6 triples is a lot.
6 triples is ridiculous. That almost makes you the most exciting guy to watch.
Right.
Or was fortunate.
Oh, Lord. Yeah, it could be that too. Nolan Arenado at third base. I think he's second in the MVP voting. But again, another Reds player, Suarez, has 61 RBIs and 16 home runs himself. So a lot of Reds players coming in, hot at the end. Brandon Crawford at shortstop. He's batting over 300. He has Gold Glove level defense every year. I think this is his year that he starts for the team. And then catcher, actually going against my Wilson Contreras for the Cubs. I'm going with JT Realmuto. His batting stats are there. I think Contreras is doing better defensively, which might get him in. Still deserving, but I'm going to go with JT.
Yeah, I basically have the same exact infield as you. I just have one difference. I mean, Freddie Freeman, if you're going to be the MVP, you have to be an all-star. Javi Baez, like you said, human highlight reel. He's second in average amongst second basemen, second in home runs, and first in RBIs whenever you look in the NL. And he actually leads the NL in stolen bases as far as second basemen go. Third base, Nolan Arenado. I mean, obvious. 306, 21 home runs, and 59 RBIs. And then my shortstop, I actually have somebody different. I went with Trevor Story. And, I mean, just the numbers that he's putting up offensively this year are ridiculous. I mean, he's top 6 as far as shortstops go in doubles, triples, home runs, RBIs, and walks. And he leads Crawford in every offensive category except for average and on-base percentage. And, defensively, he's not playing bad. I know Crawford probably has an edge defensively if you look for, like, actual talent, but they both honestly have an almost identical fielding percentage for this year, and he has 20 more RBIs, so that's why I went with Trevor Story. But, if Crawford got it just off the edge of defense, I wouldn't have a problem with it because of my next pick. Shortstop and catcher are probably the two most important places for defense on a team. And I went with Wilson Contreras for my catcher. He started more games than any catcher in the MLB. He's played more innings than anybody else, and his offensive numbers are still there. I mean, his numbers aren't as good as Real Muto's, but they're right there with his. I think the only thing that he's really fallen back on would be batting average. And as far as his defensive numbers, he's played more than 100 innings behind the plate than both Real Muto and Posey. And in 65 games that he's played at the catcher position this season, he's allowed 4 passed balls. And he's actually fifth fewest stolen bases in the league. And that's, playing all those innings.
Yep. So basically, my infield is the same as your guy. It'd be like Freeman, Baez, Arenado, Crawford. I want to go Scooter Gennett at second base because he has way higher on base percentage and way higher batting average. But obviously, there's anything else.
Yeah.
And today's baseball slugging is super important, and because of that, I gave the edge to Baez. But at catcher, I went with Drake Picker Contreras. And Drake talked about the innings thing. Another fun stat about Contreras is that he's the only catcher who has played more than 70 games this season.
Yeah.
At that spot. He's the only one.
Yeah. That's impressive. And catcher's one of those things that, like, I like me an Iron Man back there, that's how you make an all-star team, in my opinion. You put the innings in, you get the reward. Catching sucks, and if you do it a lot, you should get the trophy.
I want to do one thing. I think actually Albies is leading second baseman right now, which is pretty ridiculous. It's just because he's a rookie. Javier Baez and Scooter Gennett are better than him.
Yeah, because Acuna, I think, is like 4th or 5th on outfielders. So I think that it's kind of like the Braves is similar to like how the Cubs were a couple of years ago, where they're just hammer locking the 36 vote max. So we went ahead and talked about all the offensive producers. B-Reich, who would be your starting pitcher in the NL this year?
Well, for both teams, I did 2 starting pitchers because it's really hard just to pick one. I'm going to go with Jacob deGrom and Max Scherzer. Both of them are pitching lights out. Jacob deGrom's a sub-2 ERA. Max Scherzer's almost there at the 2.04. Max Scherzer has 165 strikeouts and 6.11 strikeouts per walks, which is just amazing.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I think that, I would go deGrom 1 and then Scherzer 2. And, if you pick anybody else other than those 2 guys this year, I really don't think you've been paying attention at all, or you just care about wins and losses from a pitcher standpoint, which would be a pretty bad judgment. So, yeah, there's really no argument there with the pitching.
Yeah, I had deGrom too. Adrian Jake said over Scherzer. Should be the best second pick, but deGrom, right now, the Cy Young winner, and you got to talk the Cy Young winner in the All-Star game.
Yeah, I agree. Unless it's back when Arrieta won it, because he wasn't even at the game.
Wasn't an All-Star. Yep.
Well, at the time, he was a Cy Young winner.
Yes, well, he was retroactively.
Oh my gosh.
So, we'll go to the AL here. We'll actually have to have a DH spot because unlike the pitchers in the NL, these guys aren't capable of actually hitting for themselves. So we'll start off here.
Swing a bat is the question.
I don't think they can.
Nope.
And John Lester, he's a transfer over from the AL, and he just hit a dinger the other night. So we'll go to the AL. Leighton, since you're the big AL guy here, we'll let you lead us off, and then we'll go Brandon and then myself. So outfield, Leighton, who do you have here?
Before we move on, Rick Porcello does have a double tonight that scored 3 runs.
Wow, good for Rick.
He can swing. Good.
He can swing the stick.
Pitcher can hit. Anyway, the outfield.
He needs to come to the NL.
Okay. Well, anyway, the outfield. 2 to 3 spots are automatic locked in Mike Trout, Mookie Betts. You look at the offensive categories, they're 1, 2, or 3, basically all of them. And the only one gets harder, the third one. I looked at Aaron Judge, but I ended up going with Eddie Rosario. He only has 4 fewer home runs, but his average is way higher. He's not going to strike out every time he goes to that at bat. And he has 52 RBIs, so he's also striking really well. And his OBP sits flat at 350.
So I went with Mookie Betts and Mike Trout, and I actually, if I'm going to rank him, I'm going to put Mookie Betts number 1. He has a 430 on base, just insane. But I'm going to go with Aaron Judge as my third. Like I said, it was up between him and Rosario, and I just went with Aaron Judge.
And my third one, I might surprise you guys a little bit, but I'm going to go with Mitch Haniger. And that's because he's second in all of MLB and RBIs. And what's the most important stat in baseball? Scoring runs. And he's second in all of MLB. So that's important.
Exactly.
And then as far as what's important for defense, getting outs. Guess who has the most putouts from right field?
Oh, man. Those are a lot of
Mitch
two
Haniger.
overblown stats right there.
You guessed it, Mitch Haniger. No, but I mean, as far as his actual stats go, I mean, he is second in all of MLB and RBIs, which is really impressive. And he's leading a team that is very surprising, and a lot of it's due to him. He has a 355 on base percentage, and he leads all right fielders, like I said, in assists and putouts. And he's playing really, really good defense. So you couple that with the offensive statistics, and you look at like Aaron Judge. Like he has 29 less strikeouts than Aaron Judge, and with 20 more at bats. And other than Judge has a little bit inflated home run numbers. Haniger has a little inflated RBIs. So you just basically pick your poison there on what you want. And I went with Haniger just because of the killer D.
Aaron Judge does have almost a 400 on base, so that is actually pretty impressive for as many strikeouts as he gets. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean 355, but I mean the RBIs, and he's leading the team that doesn't really have shit. Like I have a feeling that if Mitch Haniger was there hitting in front of like Giancarlo and all those guys, I think he would probably have a 400 on base percentage. So we'll go back to the infield here. We'll go in the AL. Leighton, who are your AL infielders?
Well, starting at first base, I knew that first base in the American League wasn't great, and I argued for this guy to make the All-Star team a few years ago. I didn't realize how bad.
Mitch Moreland, don't say it.
I didn't realize how bad first base starting position was until now. He should be starting first base. He should be starting first base in the All-Star game. He's batting .286, 11 home runs, and 40 RBIs, and he didn't even play every day until like a month and a half ago. Like, he should be the starting first baseman in the All-Star game. The next few are a little easy. Second baseman Jose Altuve, one of the best pure hitters in baseball, leads league in hits. Jose Ramirez on pace for another MVP caliber season. Shortstop is a hard choice between Machado and Francisco Lindor, but Machado has the same number of home runs and hits. He has more RBIs, same number of walks, and 20 fewer strikeouts, and he's a way higher batting average from Machado there. And at DH, Drake said earlier that Haniger for second in RBIs. Well, this guy's first, and that's J.D. Martinez. Oh, and catcher Wilson Ramos, and catcher's a shit show.
Yes, it is.
But Ramos is batting almost 311 home runs, by far the best stats of a catcher.
Did you actually look? So you said a lot of the stats that Manny Machado and Lindor were about the same. They almost have the same OPS, slugging, on base, home runs, hits. It's literally insane. It's just literally the RBIs. And like you said, the strikeouts. Ridiculous. But so I can't put Mitch Moreland in I just put Mitch Moreland, Jose Abreu. Freaking awful. First base. Bad. They need to fix that. First baseman, then the AL get better. Jose Altuve at second base. Third base, Jose Ramirez. Like I said, Manny Machado, J.D. Martinez, and Wilson Ramos. The catching situation is just as bad.
Yeah, I have basically the exact same thing you guys do. I went with Jose Abreu. I wanted to go Moreland really, really bad, but he has 90 less at-bats than what Abreu does. So, it makes you think, where would that average go with those at-bats? And he's the only first baseman as far as the AL goes, it's top 4 in average, home runs, and RBIs. And then I went with Jose Altuve. That's pretty much a no-brainer. You kind of got to respect the single with that guy. Manny Machado leads all of MLB for shortstops and home runs, RBIs, and OPS. And then Jose Ramirez, second in the MLB with 24 home runs. One of only probably 4 or 5 legit 30-30 dudes in the MLB, and he's third in the MLB in extra base hits. So he's actually been putting together a really impressive season. And Wilson Ramos, basically because there's nobody else as far as offensive production goes for catcher. And then at the DH position, I would go J.D. Martinez. And, I mean, if you argue anything other than J.D. Martinez, you're wrong.
high. You're high.
Yeah.
You're wrong. You're just wrong.
Yeah.
Your opinion's wrong.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, this is
I
a
agree
pretty
with you.
objective one.
Yeah.
though.
No, this was.
I mean, just look at the numbers.
Which I really hated for Jed Lowry, because at any other position you'd think he'd have a shot, but not at second
Right.
base.
Yeah, I know. That sucks. I was trying to make an argument for him, but I just couldn't. So as far as starting pitchers go, where would you guys go in the AL?
I thought yesterday knocked in the pond, and I think I know I was talking with Justin Verlander, and off that base I said earlier, I'll go with Verlander. He had a couple of bad starts in a row now, and over the past month has been great, and his ERA is still 2.12. It's not getting anybody out, and that just shows how good a season he has had as a whole so far. So I go with Verlander.
So I'm going to actually go with Chris Sale, and this is why. Luis Severino, yeah, he's got the 1.9 ERA, but that's the only thing he's really beating Chris Sale at. Chris Sale has a lower whip. He has a lower whip, a lower batting average, more strikeouts per walk, and it's not like his ERA is slouching. It's 2.41. But this is a really close race because you could go Justin Verlander, Blake Snell, Luis Severino, Chris Sale. They all are very deserving, so but I'm going to go Chris Sale.
See, I said it yesterday on Ducks on the Pond podcast. Basically, your Cy Young winner should be the leader. If everything else is pretty similar, basically, if innings are similar, it's ERA. ERA is the most important stat for pitchers. The most important thing, don't let them cross home plate. And Luis Severino is actually leading the AL with ERA. I don't think that's going to hold up that long because, everybody knows Severino. He's due to have 2 or 3 starts where he just absolutely explodes and gives up 10 runs in the first inning. But at this point of the season, I feel like you have to give it to him. I mean, wins are a skewed stat. He's leading the AL in wins. I don't put much stock into that. But whenever you're the ERA leader, I'd have to go with Severino. But now this is our time to have a little bit of fun here. We did it last week. We'll get back to it. This is a Colin Cowherd inspired segment. It is called Shittiest Sports Take of the Week. And this is basically where we give you a take that somebody has given us over the week that we had seen or something that somebody had texted us and told us about. And it's basically just for us, our time to laugh and tell you guys just how hilarious these things are. Leighton, you wouldn't share yours with me, and I kind of want to know what it is, so you go first.
The Cleveland Cavaliers will make the playoffs without LeBron James, said by Drake Holland on last week's episode of the podcast.
I stand by that.
I was going to say it. I was going to say let LeBron sign somewhere else, but yeah, I think there's no way they sign it. You talked about Kevin Love a whole lot. If you look back at the teams in Minnesota, they were awful teams. And not just bad, terrible. And with the guys that are around him now, they'll be a better team. But I don't think it puts them in the playoffs.
I mean, I give them a chance. But
if you look at those teams,
they might have a chance. But a lot of
they were they were 40 and 42 in the West, and the West has been the West for the past 10 years. So you can say what you want. Kevin Love team, if he's able to get back into that mode where he's the score first guy, I think it's going to be there. They'll be a fringe team.
We'll find out.
All right.
Like the Lakers. Be like you're up.
So actually, Colin Cowherd, I think he heard about us and he was running away because he was off the air all week. He literally was. He took the week off. I think
that's awesome. I think he really did. He was trying to avoid the show.
But I'm going to go with Jalen Rose. He's making back-to-back appearances on this segment, and boy, the more I listen to Get Up, it's bad. So the good folks on Get Up, we're talking about trade partners with the Spurs for Kawhi Leonard. Greeny said the bottom benchmark they should be going for is what the Pacers got for Paul George. And he said, I believe Ingram and Kuzma are comparable pieces. And he also alluded to giving him a draft pick or two. Jalen started laughing. Greeny said, we didn't know Oladipo was going to break out like he did. And he said, is it crazy to say Ingram could take a huge jump as well? And he said, you are undervaluing Oladipo, who was last year's most improved player. He averaged more points, rebounds, and assists than George did this past year. Number one, I don't think Jalen understands the concept of most improved player.
Yes, that's the best part, is that he contradicted himself immediately.
Literally contradicted himself. Like,
That's the best.
Oh my god! And then let's compare Oladipo and Ingram stats. Oladipo 2016 OKC, Ingram 2017. Oladipo averaged 15.9 points, 4 assists, 2 rebounds, 36% from 3. Ingram 16.1 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 39% from 3. And not to mention that Kuzma is much better Sabonis their rookie seasons. That was a bad take. And the fact that he contradicted himself within it, and Greeny just gave up afterwards. He was like, I can't even argue with this.
Yeah, that's terrible. Dude, that dynamic on there is the best thing ever, because like Jalen Rose, he thinks he knows everything because it's like he had played there. So he gives these like atrocious takes, kind of like saying that, oh yeah, he knew Victor Oladipo was that good.
Yeah.
And then like Greeny tries to disprove him, but he doesn't know his ass from a hole in the ground. So they're just like sitting there, just like chasing their own tails for 30 minutes at a time. And then they cut to commercial. I love it. And then the other day, like, I guess if there's one person that does know basketball in there, it would be Jalen somewhat, because he actually did play in the league. And then they had Jalen Rose off the show, and they had, Mr. Chow from The Hangover.
The little Asian guy?
Yeah, and they were
God.
Greeny, and they were talking hoops. It was terrible. Terrible.
Oh, my Lord.
So my take is actually Nick Wright. What is the one thing that Nick Wright is supposed to be educated on?
LeBron James.
Okay, so yesterday, Sunday, 10 a.m., this is his exact tweet. LeBron has made his decision and informed those close to him. Expect his announcement Tuesday morning. Well, here I am on Monday talking about how LeBron James at 7 p.m. yesterday announced that he was a Laker. Nick, if I can't trust what you're saying about LeBron, what can I trust you about? And for like the 400th time this year, he re-ranked his all-time players. Again,
He loves
and even
doing
did
that.
the Lakers
I love
edition.
that. I love that the all-time change all the time.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I feel
Most
like
of those players in the past, it's like stagnant like there.
Victor
feel like
Oladipo put up 35 points tonight. Where does that move the needle for him on all-time players?
oh yeah,
Like,
Nick
how many
Wright.
times can you re-rank these guys? I feel like it takes like 3 years to
Yeah.
even move up one slot.
Yeah, like man, Nick Wright. How bad does he want Brian Windhorst's job?
Oh, dude, he would. I want to see them. We need to do a celebrity fight edition next week on Windhorst and Nick Wright, and we'll break them down on who gets to move to L.A. in LeBron's guest room.
Oh man, Wright definitely has him on cardio, but man, if Windhorst gets on top, I think it's over.
Dude, no, you guys have to look it up. I was watching the First Take. I think it was First Take. I don't know. It was one of those shitty shows, and they had Windhorst on, and like I respect Windhorst. I really like Windhorst. I think he does a phenomenal job, actually. And even though he covers LeBron, he was on there, and they do this like breaking news thing real quick, and they said, Rajon Rondo just signed with the Lakers. Windhorst grabs his head like this dude. This is how much he loves LeBron. He grabs his head, puts it down into his lap, and he goes, "Why? Why would they do that?" And like, dude, he was so distraught on the fact that it happened. Like, you know how we were like, "Why did they just sign Boogie Cousins? Like, why would Boogie do this?" Because guess what? It ruined the whole entire NBA. All signing Rajon Rondo did was eat up $9 million of salary cap. And, dude, you'd have thought somebody kicked Windhorst's dog. It was terrible.
Hilarious.
Oh man,
I felt bad for him. I really did, because I could tell how bad he felt that they just signed Rondo. But Leighton, this is your chance. We're going to put you in the spotlight here. Guys, this is where Leighton gets his opportunity to break down the movie that he had watched most recently. So enjoy it. It's Pip's Entertainment Review.
1 2 1 2 Pip's Entertainment Review. Sit on down for a movie to view.
Well, boys, you'll be surprised today. Due to scheduling issues and being out of town and being hungover yesterday, for the first time, and I can't remember how long, I haven't watched a movie this week.
What?
We've
Dude,
been
I've
doing
watched
this
the movie
podcast.
this week.
We've been doing this podcast for 50 weeks now, and this is the first time you have not been able to watch a movie.
I know, but, however, I'm not coming to it empty-handed. I have a discussion idea. So,
Alright.
I'm a big fan of Reddit, and somebody posted on Reddit the other day, asking the question, whenever actors, directors, writers, etc. retire, do they lose their Academy status? And that hit me in a weird way, because are these people actually employed? Because they're not under any label to do anything. They can either just not act ever again. If they don't get a contract from a corporation to be in one movie, they don't do it. Like with musical artists, they have a label, and they owe the label, X number of albums. Actors and I don't know about directors, but actors don't owe studios anything until they sign for one movie. They get paid for that one movie and go away. So, are actors even employed? And can they retire, really, or they just quit working?
Ooh.
They just quit working, I
Yeah,
guess.
they just quit
Yeah.
taking... They
just stop showing up to work. They become bums.
They just say, I don't want to work today. But yeah, no, they probably just, make retirement accounts, and your biggest thing is you just have to get endorsements. But you're right. They don't even have to say they're going to retire.
No, they
I don't think anybody ever actually retires. Like, they still do, like, cameos and shit like
Right.
that.
I mean,
Leighton,
Betty
name
White.
one guy that's retired.
from
Yeah,
acting?
the guy that's
Exactly.
retired.
Well,
Who?
currently, Danny Lewis is retired. He hasn't done anything in his last movie.
Okay, yeah.
And he said
But
he was
do you
done.
think he's going to be done for good?
No, I think he did like 10 years, like 10 years or so, probably. But
But didn't he say this was going to be his last one?
no, he did. That's why I said him to be retired. But I can see him like 10 years coming back and doing one thing with Paul Thomas Anderson again.
I mean, if Betty White can still get it done, everybody
Yeah,
can still
like
get it
people
done.
like Betty White. Like, you basically, like, wither away on stage. Like,
Yes.
I don't, it's something that you never stop doing. Perfect example, like Andy Griffith, young man who we watched him basically wither away on, like, Matlock. So, I don't think they actually ever retire.
So either their form of retirement is pretty much death. Not to be crude,
Yes.
but
Yeah,
that
I
is
mean,
that is their
that's-
retirement.
Yeah.
That's what, like I can too. And I've Googled it. Like,
You leave everything on the field.
Yes, you do.
I think other people's opinions, because I'm wondering, do they get counted to the unemployment count? And
Oh, that'd be...
there's no definitive answer I could find anywhere. Like, I don't know.
Ooh.
And
Like, I can't find like a definitive yes or no answer for that.
politicians use those. Like, if their person isn't in presidency, like the Democrats right now are trying to find all the actors that aren't working and put them on the unemployment risk. Same thing the Republicans probably did with the Democrats who were in office. Just ridiculous. But yeah, those are good questions. Like,
And taxes? How do the taxes?
well, you can get taxed on the amount of money you have if you have like a lot of money, like in different accounts. But you're right; they're pretty much their
they don't
income
have
is $0.
They don't have a
sales.
W-2.
They don't have income. Yeah, they don't have a W-2.
That was a really good question, actually.
Yeah, like, it just hit me. Like, I read that thing. I was like, shit, are they even employed? But,
Wow.
so what, guys? So I just made this week. I'm seeing 3 movies this week on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. See a movie every day to make it for last week.
He's loading back up. Uncle Drew will be on the hot stove for you on Monday.
That will be discussed on Monday, yes. Uncle Drew.
Be ready. So, guys, any bold predictions before we wrap this thing up?
Golden State sets the record for most tentacles in a season by a team.
That's not very bold. That's just like, duh.
Duh.
Boogie Cousins, Draymond Green death match, middle of the queue.
Hey, even KD's probably be a little bitch right now. He might get a couple.
Yeah. All the people that were stupid and bet on the Lakers to when they made finals really hate their lives right now.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It went
Wait.
from 0.1% chance to 0% chance.
What if they were just doing a sign and trade, the Warriors were, to get LeBron from the Lakers? Think about that.
LeBron James.
My bold prediction is that this time next week, in response to this happening, okay, Magic Johnson's going to have the ultimate knee-jerk reaction of all knee-jerk reactions, and he's going to unload the ship. I really think that they are going
There's a good chance.
They're gonna hell or high water. He's gonna look at this and he's gonna say, okay, I have Rajon Rondo. I'm going to send. This is no shit. Okay, this is how this guy thinks. I have Rajon Rondo. He's basically Lonzo Ball. Window of championship is so small right now for LeBron James, and the only guy who can defeat this team as the Warriors is LeBron James. He's the only man that can do it. You put 4 All-Stars together in the East, they're not going to get it done. So LeBron James will be one of like 6 guys that is on the roster now that will be there next week. I'm saying they're going to move. The only one they might keep is Kuzma because they like Kuzma because Kuzma's tough.
Trade Lonzo, Brandon Ingram, and every first-round pick they have. I like it.
Yep.
Even Mo Wagner. Mo Wagner, maybe.
Right now,
Wagner.
Pop is licking his lips. He wants Mo Wagner bad.
Yeah. But, yeah, no, that's crazy. And then, oh, my God. It's literally just going to be the Lakers versus the Warriors.
Yeah. Seriously. That's what it's going to be. These guys are in the ultimate arm race now. They're going to have the biggest knee-jerk reaction. They're going to see this team is awesome. This team is going to be scary as hell next year. We thought we had a chance maybe with LeBron to wait till Kawhi. Now we have to do it. They're going to unload ship, and it's going to be craziness. I have a feeling it's going to be craziness. I think the boogie thing is the first domino to fall.
I hate the NBA. I'm done.
Yes, I do.
God.
And for that, I'm Drake, for Leighton, and B-Rock. Dippers, as always, stay saucy.